Thank you for joining us this evening. We're happy to have you on this warm evening. Thank you for taking time out of your night to spend some time with us. This video will be available afterwards to review and share out. We'll have it posted on our website. And so we just want to get started this evening with a few introductions and let you know kind of what to expect this evening. So my name is Jennifer Bennett. I'm the principal currently of Lakers Online K through 12. And this evening, we're going to share with you how we've really reflected and redesigned our high school experience and what your student would experience as being a part of West Bloomfield Innovation High School. We also we'll share with you some unique partnerships with industry professionals that we have planned, a profile of a student at our school, some course offerings, and also share with you some sample daily schedules. You'll notice in the chat, our Associate Principal, Morrison Borders, shared with you a Google form where you can add any questions that you may have throughout our presentation. I would ask if you just hold those questions. I think we'll get a lot of those questions answered for you, but please feel free to add those to the chat. And what we'll do is we'll compile that information for you and share it out with an FAQ document in our emails to you. So we're going to get started with our presentation, and you'll get to know each of our awesome staff members as they go through the presentation this evening. So thank you again for joining us.
All right, good morning or good evening, actually, everyone. My name is Morrison Borders. I'm the Associate Principal for Lakers Online. I focus mainly on the secondary schools, so 6 through 12. So what I would like for you to do right here is take about 30 seconds and read this slide. I don't need to read it to you, and I think it would be better if you read it for yourself. So let's everybody take 30 seconds, and we'll quickly read over this slide. Seconds. So basically what you read there is we are trying to reshape what a high school experience can be for a student. We have great opportunities in West Bloomfield with West Bloomfield High School, Oakland Early College, and now with West Bloomfield Innovation High School. This is going to be a student-centered problem-solving place where students are going to be completely online, yet engulfed in group activities. We are very excited about this and what the prospects for this holds for both our staff, you and your, excuse me, you and your son and daughter, and also any other student that would like to become a part of this great program.
Hi, I'm Stacy Weller. I'm one of the Deans of Instruction here at Lakers Online. And our new Innovation High School is going to have quite a bit to offer that we're excited about. This year, we discovered a great deal about how students learn best. Some are early risers and some get up a little bit later, and some are very, very comfortable in their own surroundings. And what we like about our program is that we have a flexibility of time and location that is really not available in a traditional setting. We've also come to realize that cross-curricular learning is so important because core subjects really don't exist in the real world independently of one another. So we want to help students realize that there is a connection between their cores, not only between their cores, but an interdisciplinary unit will help them to understand how those cores then are connected to the career fields and the world around them. So we're giving teachers time and space to be able to create those interdisciplinary units so that kids can see how their passion projects might be connected to things in their real world. And we know that when kids see themselves and what it is that they're doing, they're far more engaged in their own learning. We know that the Portrait of a Graduate 4Cs model is important with communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creative thinking, and being a communicator. All of those things are a part of what we're going to be interweaving into our lessons it turns out that research is showing today's innovative job market really wants a candidate that can do those 4 things. More than just these 4 C's are a really important part of what they learn every single day. We have time built in for small group and individual learner support throughout every single day of the week. We know the value of a WB teacher, and so we are making sure that our teachers are connected to each one of our subject matter. They're skilled and passionate about what they teach. And the nice thing is that students that are a part of our program can still participate in sports that are offered and clubs that are offered at WBHS.
So one of our main themes as we moved into this program was the understanding that your network is your net worth. And when you try to achieve goals in life, that is seldom done in isolation. So the ability for a young person to start making connections in the world that will help them later, not just in high school, but also after high school and college, or if they go right to the career field, is going to be really important. So in this school, we want to give kids the ability to start building those connections, not just with other people their age, not just with teachers, but folks who are in industry. It is our plan to get involved with all sorts of various areas in the industrial sector, and to have those folks be participants in the school. And that way, students not only get to hear about what a career is, but they get to hear about what it's like to work in that career. And so through those opportunities, through internships and other professional experiences over the course of their 4 years, those interactions, we hope, will start to build a network of people that will help those kids get to where they want to get in life. And this is one of the things that we feel really is missing in the current high school setting in general, all across the country. When the kids are doing project presentations, it's not just going to be for their teachers. It's going to be for folks in the community and those industry leaders that they're working with. We want the kids to see relevance, and we want there to be real accountability built in. Having it be just for a grade doesn't go very far in a kid's mind anymore. We know that they need to see that connection to why they're putting all the work into something, and then later on, how that work is received by other people that they look up to. And finally, we want to get the kids out and about. So we know this is an online experience, but it is not going to be only an online experience. Bringing kids out into the world where they're able to actually go to colleges that they might want to attend, and go to see careers in places that they might want to go is our goal. How can we see the connection between what we're learning in school or where we want to go to college and the career that we eventually want to have? So the idea is relevance. The thing we don't want to have our kids asking is, why am I learning this? And so we hope that will happen in this new school. And we also hope that in the process that they're able to build those connections that will take them places that they want to go. So in sum, the IHS Path to Success is built on these pillars. Number one, an interdisciplinary college prep classes. The classes, the core classes they take will not just be about the usual subjects, but they're going to work together and show how they interrelate and how they relate to their career. Next, career-based electives, electives that get down to the reason we're in school. School isn't just about learning science and math and English. It's about getting ready to go out and make money and to earn a living. And so we want them to have career-based electives that help them not just understand what it means to work, but what they want to do. How many kids go off after high school and don't know what they want to do and then spend 2 years in college trying to figure that out? What if we can reduce that gap between what they think they want to do and what they really want to do based on experiences they can have in high school? Student interest. We want the students to be able to explain their learning through their lens. Why does this matter to them? How can they build in their interest to what they're learning? We're going to use a portrait of a graduate, 4C, soft skills, which we have found industry really, really is looking for, more so than the ability for a kid to take a test. Can they collaborate? Can they contribute? Can they critically think? So all these different aspects of a kid which help to drive innovative thinking, we want to embrace and build. And finally, field experiences. Getting out into the real world, seeing what it is like to do a job that they think they might want to do, and being able to really pursue a passion versus what they think they should do. And all that will equal college and career readiness. And hopefully a solid return on investment from the work you're doing in high school. Okay. So what kind of student is it that we're looking for at IHS? First of all, understand all sorts of kids can be successful here. There isn't a specific perfect student because we know that doesn't exist. There are no perfect people. We're all really unique in our own way. And so the model is broad, but there are some things that we think we want that will make students more successful. Number one, do they enjoy actively and visibly participating with others in the process of solving problems through communication, collaboration, and critical thinking? We know that learning generally does not occur very well in isolation. And to do that well, we need to be able to work with other people too. Studies have shown that humans are a lot more effective working in groups. So although we're not talking about group work all the time, we are talking about needing to contribute to a process that involves other people. Maybe your student is not one who is really into that, but honestly needs to grow in that area. If they're motivated to grow and get better at that, this school could be a good place for them. Do they want to have clear connections to personal and career goals? And what this really means is, are we trying to create a school where connections are clear? One of the things we fight and have fought in classrooms is apathy. Apathy is something that keeps kids from achieving because honestly, they don't see the point in things. That's something we want to change. I know I have a son and I don't want our students coming home and saying that, why do I have to do this? I just have to get through it. That's no way to spend 4 years. And we really want that opportunity to grow for kids and for them to embrace the opportunity so they're able to really see value in it. Are they willing to become more self-disciplined and motivated to succeed even outside of a teacher's supervision? It's hard as a teacher when you see a kid work right in front of you, but as soon as you walk away, they put their pencil down and pick up their phone and do something else. That's discouraging. We want that to change. Our goal is to help kids, like I said, see the value of what we're doing, but also want to become more self-disciplined themselves and be able to show others that they can be dependent on to do things, even when other folks aren't looking right at them. And finally, and this one's got a lot related to what's happened this year. Have they found success and comfort working in online and with various forms of technology? It is not for everyone, we know that. But we do think there is a place in this forum for a lot of people. And so we would encourage you to think about this, to have this discussion with your kids, to reflect on whether or not this was actually a good experience or it's something you definitely don't want to do again. Those are tough and good conversations to have, but something to consider. Okay, so all in a nutshell, many different kids will succeed here, but these would be 4 good points to consider when trying to decide whether or not IHS is a good placement for you.
So now we're going to look at actually what classes students are going to take next year. So next year's program is going to be only for 9th and 10th grade students. And the reason we're only starting with 9th and 10th grade students is we want to start small and grow the program out so it can be the best program it can possibly be, as opposed to trying to rush into this and incorporate 9th through 12th. A lot of great programs have started small like this. We have a great example here in West Bloomfield, which is Oakland Early College. They started small with just a few grades and then slowly built that program out. And then this year they've actually added in where freshmen can start in that program, where before it was only 10th graders. So we have learned from experiences within the district that in order to create a great program, it's better to start small and then build that program as you go. So next year, all of our 9th and 10th graders will take American Lit, American History, Integrated Physical Science, and then math. So their maths are going to be Algebra 1 or geometry. We do have the opportunity to have a honors geometry where students have the ability to kind of press themselves a little further and kind of go farther down that math road. And the great thing about this program is, if you noticed, is that all the students are taking the same courses in terms of English, science, and history. We're going to spiral those courses as we go through from 9th through 12th grade. So no matter what grade level you are, you're going to be on whatever the spiral is for that year. And the great thing about the standards in the state of Michigan are, in social studies and science, the standards are not grade level specific. They are content specific. So if I'm taking biology and I'm a freshman, I'm going to receive the same standards as if I was a senior taking biology because they're content driven. The same goes with history and social studies. In many school districts, students do not take econ and government until their junior years. But in West Bloomfield, students take it in the freshman year because that's where we found the best fit to be. So that brings us to English. So the content standards in English are all the same for the different grade levels, but as you get older, those standards become a little more rigorous. So as an example, in the simplest of terms, if we're talking about sports, let's say, and I'm a baseball coach of first graders, and I want my first graders to, when they throw the ball, I want them to throw it accurately 2 out of 5 times. Well, as they get older, that accuracy number is going to increase. So excuse me, a 5th grade student is not going to have that same target number. Now I know that's very elementary, but I think it gets the point across very clearly in terms of what those standards are. So all of our students are going to be on that spiral with the exception of math, and students will be placed in the math that they should be in. So if you look over on the right side of the slide, you see the class of 2025, those are our freshmen for next year, and then the class of 2024, those are our 10th graders. So both groups have foreign language down, and then there's a backslash for coding. So if, according to the Michigan Merit Curriculum, which we'll get into in a second here, students have to take at least 1 year of foreign language, and then they can substitute their 2nd year of foreign language for a career technical education course. So we put coding in as an example because students could take coding along with another business related course to earn that 2nd year credit that they have to have. So students aren't buckled into having to take 2 years of foreign language. They do have to take 1. And many of our students take Spanish in the 8th grade. So they wouldn't have to, if they didn't want to continue with Spanish, they wouldn't have to. They could go on another track to kind of go into a field where they're a little bit more interested. For our freshmen, you also see PE and health is a class that is going to be required. That class is also required by the state. As you look at our sophomore group, again, you see the foreign language and coding. There'll also be some other elective opportunities in there for those students, depending on their foreign language base. And then you see the applied arts class. So the applied arts class can be a number of classes. We have a few examples for you on this slide with marketing, beginning programming, and art foundations. But those classes are not limited just to those 3 options, but there are other options. And the most exciting class that all students will take next year is a career explorations class. We are very excited about this class, and it actually ties in to students being able to earn AP credit if they so choose by this class and then the class that they will take next year. So in career explorations, we're going to expose students to 12 different fields. Within these 12, and this is our original mock-up, right? These are the first 12 we came up with. These are not the 12 that we're going to be married to for sure. And this 12 may, balloon up to 15, let's say. But using these 12, what students will do is each quarter, students will explore 4 different fields. And they won't just explore these fields on their own or by their teacher. We're going to have business professionals and experts in these fields actually coming in to talk to our students. So in this online environment, it's going to be via Zoom, right? So students will go to a Zoom with this in particular expert, and the expert is going to lay out what it looks like. What does their day look like? What do they have to do in order to be successful in this job? What are some of the great things that come with the job? What are some of the not so great things that come with the job, right? And so at the end of our 3rd quarter, students will have explored every single field that we have to offer. And in that 4th quarter is where it really becomes important because students are going to start to narrow down. They're going to narrow down their choices to maybe 3 or 4 fields that they're the most interested in. We're going to have some problem-based learning for them to do that's going to be guided by their teacher. And once they hone that, they hone those likes and they hone that passion, that's going to follow into the course that they take next year, which is called Innovation Learning Lab. So Aaron, if you could go to the next slide, please. Perfect. There we go. So you'll see in year 1, I just kind of explained year 1 for you, and you see where career explorations, and then underneath you see where it says AP seminar with an asterisk next to it. So the asterisk is there because AP seminar is a new course to West Bloomfield. So it has to go through the board approval process and it has to go through the AP approval process, but we are confident that we'll be able to make that happen. But we did want to put that on there just so you know. If you look at year 2, you see where that Innovation Learning Lab is, and where they have an opportunity to earn another AP course, which is AP Research. So what that class is going to look like is they're going to take those 3 or 4 fields that they identified during career explorations, and they are going to do a very deep dive into each one of those fields through problem-based learning. They're going to create problems that may arise in that field on their own. They're going to find out innovative ways to solve those problems, and they're going to have to present their problem-solving ideas to a panel. That kind of goes back to what Aaron was talking about in the first or second slide there, where he was talking about presenting to the community. That's going to be a piece of that. If you look a little bit farther down, year 3 for English for class of 2025, that's our freshmen this year. So in their junior year, they will be taking English, Lit, Bio, Civics, and Econ, and whatever math they're taking at that point. It could be Algebra 2, it could be Algebra 2 Honors. It would depend on that student. The class of 2024, so this will be their senior year, they will be taking Professional Communications and whatever, and then their senior year math class. So with the Michigan Merit Curriculum, as you can see at the top, Aaron, if you could click on that for me real quick, please. Here it comes, slowly but surely. There we go. So this is the Michigan Merit Curriculum. And what the Michigan Merit Curriculum is it's a state guideline to courses that students have to pass in order to receive a state endorsed diploma. So as you see at the top, students have to take 4 years of English. They have to take 4 years of math. They have to have an online experience. That's checked off already for every single kid after this year, right? They have to take physical education and health. They have to take 3 credits of science. So here in West Bloomfield, we offer, we'll go biology, integrated physical science, and earth science. Students will have an opportunity to expand beyond that if they would like to take an additional course. 3 credits of social studies. The social studies credits are American history, world history, government, and econ. Visual, performing, and applied arts. We talked a little bit about that, about what different courses satisfy that. And then 2 credits of world language, which we also talked about. So when you see the classes that are proposed, those aren't classes that we just kind of picked out of the blue, right? Those are classes that students have to take based on the Michigan Merit Curriculum. And we chose those classes because those classes are already running at West Bloomfield High School, so they're already on the books. Some of those classes also run at Oakland Early College, so we don't have to go through the curriculum approval process to run those classes. We just have to move them over to Lakers Online. Mr. Avery, if you could go back to the presentation, please. Thank you, sir. All right, so the class of 2024, you'll see their senior year, they're taking Professional Communications and math because they have to have an English. They have to have 4 years of English and 4 years of math. The Professional Communications class is exactly what it sounds. Kids need to learn how to appropriately communicate in a professional environment. That includes speaking. That includes emails. That includes texting your boss, right? You text your boss differently than you text your buddy, right? You talk to your buddy differently than you talk to your boss. So that class is all going to be about real world communication and how that looks. Like, how do you write a letter? How do you write an application letter? How do you create a resume? How do you deliver that resume? How do you present yourself in an interview, right? So the goal of the class is to set these students up and be ready for success as they move on. So their senior year, you'll also see that students can have outside internships, OSTC. OSTC is the Oakland Schools Training Center, which we currently utilize through West Bloomfield High School. Students could take classes like AutoCAD, manufacturing, welding. They can also take classes like marketing and other business type classes through OSTC. So those will be available to them. Internships, co-ops. The AP capstone class is, again, there's an asterisk because that will be a new one. And that will be an opportunity for students to kind of, as a senior year project, demonstrate their learning, demonstrate what they've learned, demonstrate what that learning has actually meant to them, as opposed to just writing on a piece of paper about this is why this was important. They're actually going to demonstrate what they learned and what their learning meant to them. And then lastly, there you see AP psychology. We've kind of played around with this being a required class for all seniors. And the reason we think it's going to be required for senior year is because the ability to understand how the human mind works and how people think and how people perceive different things and how different personalities take different things is priceless in the world, not just in business, but just as a person. If you can be able to understand from a very detailed account of why someone is thinking the way they are or why they're behaving the way they are, that's going to make you a much better person, businessman, husband, wife, son, daughter, right? So we're really leaning to that being a required class for that purpose. And then you can see there in year 4, I don't need to recap that. That's kind of the same options as for the senior class of 2024.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about in a minute is what a daily schedule for a student would look like. This is one of the most innovative approaches to high school scheduling that I've ever seen. And I guess the thing that might help, first of all, to understand what's going on here is to imagine a weekly college schedule where your classes occur, but they don't always occur at the same time. They're not necessarily one right after another, and they vary by length. So we wanted to do that for a few reasons. First of all, it capitalizes on one of the main things that online learning has to offer, and that is flexibility. Second, it gives kids the opportunity to begin to acclimate to a college schedule. In talking to college administrators as we were building this program, one of the things they said is the hardest for their new freshmen is getting used to managing a schedule where it's not 1 hour after another, that there's some variation in there and there's some freedom in there. And growing that mindset early, again, creates a good return on investment for a high school program, because you don't want to get to college and not know how to handle that thing. That's a soft skill that we would like our kids to have before they get there. So number one, remember, this is trying to emulate that college experience and trying to capture flexibility. All right, second, students each week will have 4 hours of required Zoom time per class. So 3 of those hours are with a teacher and 1 hour is with peers in a collaborative session. So that means that students are with other students and other adults all week. It's not an isolation situation. It's not giant gaps of asynchronous work. We're working to get people working with other people, okay? 3, the frequency of duration of teacher-led classes will vary, but the teacher-led aspect always adds up to 3 hours. So when you start to look at the schedule to understand it, remember the goal is that it needs to add up to 3 hours of class time with a teacher. You add the 1 hour of collaboration time with the peers, and that's where you get your 4 hours a week. So remember that as you look into it. Look at it in a second. So the part where they're collaborating with peers, that is a recorded time. So there's an old phrase, trust and verify. So in this case, we're trusting kids are going to do this, and we're going to be able to verify that as well as needed, because all of the collaborative sessions will be submitted for review. We want to make sure from time to time that everyone is carrying their weight and that students aren't left hanging when other students aren't doing what they're supposed to do. So it's supervised, independent work, and it is, I think, an important part, again, of getting ready for the college experience, learning to do that then. And finally, teacher lectures and class discussions will be recorded and available for students, not just during the class time, but later as well. Oh, sorry, went too far. So these are some things to keep in mind before Mrs. Weller starts to talk about the actual logistics of the schedule. Now, when you first see it, it might look confusing, but just give it a second. It's not, all right? And hopefully it'll be clear by the end. So here we go.
It's not confusing. This is going to be great. So this went through many different stages, and we've gotten a lot of feedback from teachers, from administrators, actually in different places around the country, on how to do this best. And at this point, this is what we've settled on, something that we're really proud of. We feel like really confident that this model is going to offer flexibility and options for the kids that they wouldn't generally have in a typical high school setting. So let's take a closer look at it. Go ahead and flip to the next slide. And so what you're looking at with these colors, these bands of colors, is you're seeing some classes that are running for an hour's worth of time. Other classes will run for an hour and a half. You can see you've got your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The times are along down on the left. So if you look at the purple bands across the top, for example, you'll see that from 8:30 until 9:30 in the morning, science, foreign language, math, and your English language arts class are going to be offered for that hour of time. If you see a class within that band that you want to take during that time, you'll choose it and then you'll go through that same process for each of your other 7 classes. You want to choose one color band. You're really choosing more time options than you are choosing classes, because we know that your 7 classes are pretty much set for your first year or 2. So for example, let's click to the next slide. So I take a look at all my different color bands. I'm trying to figure out when am I going to take my science class. And I think that I'd prefer to take my science class on Tuesday from 8:30 to 9:30. I can totally handle that. So once I've made that decision, next slide, there's really nothing else for me to choose from the purple color band, because that tells me that my science class is going to be what comes from that band on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. So now moving on to our next slide. I'm trying to figure out when am I going to take my social studies class, and I like that social studies comes right after science on Tuesday. I think I can completely handle that. So if I choose that from the green band of color, next slide, everything else from that green band disappears. I continue that process for every single one of my 7 courses, kind of picking and choosing what works best for me. If I'm not necessarily a morning person, maybe I'll want to take some mornings off. So maybe I'll think to myself, well, those aqua colored classes at the top, I'm thinking I just want to wake up on Thursdays or Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays early. I might wake up a little bit later on my Mondays and Thursdays. So if I continue this process for each one of my 7 courses, go ahead to the next slide. This is what might end up as being an example student schedule. But depending on the student and the choices that he or she makes, this could look very different for different students. So you can see that there's a great flexibility of time on here. We also have some times built into the day that we're calling collaboration time, when there are no classes meeting at all during that time. That's a great time for what Mr. Avery was mentioning earlier, that 4th hour of class time each week, when we're really looking at that portrait of a graduate 4 Cs. We're focusing on getting together in those small groups, continuing that passion project or that project-based learning that we started in one of our classes together as a small team. Maybe we'll decide that 10:30 on a Monday works really well for everyone. So that's the time that we'll get together and continue to collaborate. But again, because time is so flexible, it doesn't have to be at 10:30. It could be at 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. If every one of my partners decides that that's a good time for them, that's when we could work together. We're still going to record that time. That recording gets shared with my teacher so that she can check and make sure that I'm using all 4 of my C's when I'm working with my partners, that I'm working toward the goal that I set for myself, that my team is collaboratively working toward the goal that we set together. What's nice also, if you look at this student's schedule, there's also a lot of time built in when they can get extra support from their teachers. Thursday mornings, Monday mornings, there's nothing going on. So maybe that's a perfect time for me to check in with my science teacher, because I've been struggling with a little something. So I might make an appointment with my science teacher. Those are open office hours for that person. So we could sit and we could talk during that time. We've also blocked out a little bit of time on Friday that we're thinking might be a community time. That might be a perfect time for us to get together in larger teams. So we can talk about some of those life skills all together. We could work on social emotional learning during that time. There's tons of flexibility built into the schedule. And at the same time, there's choice for students, not so much choice that they're going to get completely lost in all those choices. It's kind of like that college schedule where you look at what you need, what times are those offered, and once you've made your choices, you've got your schedule set for the semester.
And also, if you take a look at this, you'll see, for example, foreign language, which on Monday starts at 11:30, is a 1-hour class, and then it's again on Tuesday, and then it's again on Friday. So you can see that that adds up to 3 hours. On the other hand, social studies happens only on Tuesday and Wednesday, and that is our 1.5-hour class. And those 2 add up to 3. So again, the frequency and duration of classes vary. When you as a student want to take those classes is up to you. There is a menu to select from, but it creates more flexibility than a kid would have in a normal high school setting. Okay. right, Mr. Borders?
All right, so the application process. So this is an application school option. So we're currently talking to we're currently talking about in-district students only. So we're talking about current West Bloomfield School District students. We'll talk about potential school of choice students in the next slide. So it's a multi-step application process. Step one, this is going to be due by March 26th. There's a student screener via a Google form. The form will be available on the district website, and we will also email it to all 8th and 9th graders tonight after this presentation. We'll email it directly to the students. We will also email it to the parents, but students have to fill it out from their school district email account. Step two is a family meeting. So the family meeting it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a sit down with us and the family to make sure that this is actually the right fit, that we're going into this program for the right reasons, and that students and parents understand everything that actually will be involved in this program. And then step third is the final decision. That will be to families no later than April 23rd. Our goal is to have that done earlier than that, but it just depends on time. So just to put it in your brain, March 26th, that's the Friday before we go on spring break. April 5th is the Monday we return from spring break. So obviously we won't be having any family meetings on that Monday, but expect those family meetings to start. Students will be notified if they're moving on from the screener to the family meetings. Our goal is in that first week of April, maybe even over the spring break period, parents and students will be notified that they're moving forward in the process, or that they didn't quite make the criteria from the screener, and then they will go to WBHS or to one of our other online options. If you can go ahead and click the next slide, Mr. Avery. Schools of choice. So school of choice students. So if you are in this meeting and you are not a current student in the West Bloomfield School District, the school of choice window will open on May 3rd and it will stay open until July 9th. Families must apply through the West Bloomfield School District website. That's www.wbsd.org. You will need to look under parents, and there will be a drop down for school of choice. If you go on the website right now and you click on parents, you will not see a drop down of school of choice because there's not a current open school of choice window. When the window opens, that option will appear on the website and you can apply. So again, you have that entire time frame to apply. However, as students apply, we'll probably have screeners, and we'll probably just kind of go through the screening process and the family meeting process kind of organically as students apply, so we don't have a big traffic jam log on July 9th. It is important to note that school of choice students will go through the exact same application process as current WBSD students. First off, that's fair, right? And second off, it's the law. So if we offer a school of choice program, whatever our in-districts, if we have in-district students that want to attend that program, they have to meet the same criteria that we have for our school of choice students. So everything is the same. The only difference is the timeline. Okay. Mr. Avery, you want to go one more? All right, so here's our contact information. If you have any other additional questions, we can kind of leave this slide up there. And again, this slideshow will be posted to our website, the district website, the wbsd.org. There's actually a web page strictly devoted to webinars. It will be there. I believe that they are on there in numerical order based on date, or chronological order, I'm sorry. So this one will probably be all the way at the bottom, but it will be available.
So for those of you who just sat through the presentation, I just like to bring this to a close. This is a brand new program. This is something that is innovative and new. And Mrs. Weller has been teaching high school for 23 years, and this is my 24th. And Mr. Borders and Ms. Bennett are administrators. They've been at this for a long time as well. And we've been able to see what it is that we think needs to be better in high school. And we believe that we're able to fill those gaps with this program. So we really encourage you to think about this and to consider how it might be a good fit for your family and your student. We're really excited about it. There's a lot of excited teachers about it in West Bloomfield and folks who want to get in it and make this a great experience for students. And so it has a bright future. So give it a good thought. And we can't wait to work with you and answer your questions, and hopefully have a great year next year. All right, so everyone, hope you have a great night, and look forward to talking with you.